Hey, it's Joel Wynkoop, and welcome to the third season of the Joel Wynkoop Show. Quite possibly, maybe kind of sad, because this may be my last season. However, if there's anybody out there watching and you'd like to become a sponsor, please give me a call. My number is 813-951-5431. We still have a cool show. We have 7 episodes to show you for the season because the whole moving of the television station. So we're going to have today's show, and then we have 6 more shows before we're off the air. My show today, we're going to take you to the Blast from the Past, the toy and collectibles show. My guests are both Marta Kristen, who played Judy in Lost in Space, and also Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann in Gilligan's Island. So sit right back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip. Okay, you won't hear that, but sit back and check it out. The Joel Wynkoop Show is on the air. So let's get to it right now on the Joel Wynkoop Show. We're taking you to the Blast from the Past Collectibles Show. Hey, it's Joel Wynkoop here from the Joel Wynkoop Show. I'm sitting here at, this is at Ruth Eckerd Hall. It's the Star Trek Live Blast from the Past, conducted by my good friend Dr. Chuck Stevens, and I am sitting here with Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island, Miss Dawn Wells.
Which is a blast from the past.
It is a blast from the past. Hey, would you sing Gilligan's Island with me?
No, I can't carry a tune.
Oh, okay. Can I sing it?
You can sing it.
No, that'll waste our time. I'll sing it later and pretend you're there sitting next to me.
Good idea.
But this, to the Wynkoop audience out there, Miss Dawn Wells here, and we're here, and you're having a good time here at the Blast from the Past?
Do you think they remember me?
They absolutely do remember you.
Have you ever heard of a show called Gilligan's Island? For 7 stranded castaways? Now we've got Lost.
See, now you're singing it. Yeah, but they ripped you off.
No, they
Lost
didn't.
is about Gilligan's Island.
Well, no, that was dramatic.
Well, because they didn't want to copy the entire format, they made it dramatic.
I thought it was kind of interesting, actually. Okay, what are we talking about?
But yes, yes, you did Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island, and everybody always thought that it was Ginger that was the movie star. Everybody said, oh, Ginger. No, it was always like, oh, Mary Ann.
The Mary Ann or Ginger question is huge. And
yes,
Mary Ann always wins because I think you could trust her. Mm-hmm. As a young man, she'd go to prom with you. Mm-hmm. You'd have to buy Ginger a martini.
Yep.
And she was a little more high maintenance.
Yes, you had to have money to go out with Ginger.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep, and mine too. So, okay, we had all these years on Gilligan's Island. I watched you as a kid. Every day we come home from school, it was Batman, Gilligan's Island, Green Hornet. So,
I Dream of Jeannie.
Yep, but we loved Gilligan's Island. I remember the one where Gilligan said, you go, Gilligan, how did you get those bites on your neck? And he goes, I stood on a ladder? And he goes, oh, Gilligan. That was the whole vampire one. He wanted
the vampire
but he said he stood on a, he goes, how did you get those bites on your neck? I stood on a ladder? Like that helped him bite himself in the neck. But just all those episodes are great. I bought, I think the first 2 seasons for my boy. He met you in 2006 at the Hollywood Collectibles Show. I brought him over. Yep. I know you meet a million people. But and I'd explain to them what Gilligan's Island was, because there's a whole new generation coming up that don't know. I mean, yes, you're in reruns.
But we have never been off the air since 1964 in more than 30 languages all over the world. I climbed the Gorilla Mountains in Rwanda. I was in Beijing. Mary Ann, Mary Ann, Mary Ann.
See?
But there's no clothes, no cars that tell you when it was filmed. And I think Sherwood Schwartz did something really special. He took 7 misfits, tried to live together on the island, and that's exactly what's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
Take the compromise of all who we are and put us all together and see if we can exist, and that's...
Well,
I think he did a great thing, actually.
Well, that was, I guess, kind of Roddenberry came into that thing too, because his vision of the future was everybody in peace. That's why he had Lieutenant Uhura was African, he had Spock was the alien, Chekhov was a Russian, Sulu was Japanese, I believe, Captain Kirk was American, and the whole thing was he wanted that melting pot to show that we're not going to be this way in the future, where we have race wars and everybody's hating each other and food and hunger. That was all abolished in Roddenberry's story of
Well, and the Gilligan's Island film is going to come out in a couple of years, and I'm sure it'll be multiracial. It has to be. It has to be. You have to, do what our civilization is all about today.
Well, it's weird. And I just said this recently to a friend of mine, and Ken Anthony, he's a black man, very good friends with him, and I told him, I don't want to see a white man play Luke Cage. Luke Cage is Power Man, he's a black man. On the same token, I don't want to see the Kingpin played by a black man because the Kingpin is white. Except for, like, Nick Fury was a white man, and then they have him played by a black man, and help me with the name, I can't remember.
I want to know what show you're talking about.
Well, this is in Marvel Comics, and Nick Fury is in Marvel Comics. He's a superhero character.
This is a guy thing.
Well,
I know all about Little Lulu, but I don't know.
There's a lot of girls that grew up with comic books. But I mean, when they said the multiracial, I want to say if like the Enterprise was that way. So that's what I want to continue to see.
Yes, it was that way. But Gilligan's Island was all milquetoast.
But if they do it again, that's what they were. That's what I'd still like to see a white Mariana. But if it was all a black cast, I want to see it all like I don't want to see a white man play Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is black. That's what I want to see.
Martin Luther King stood up for the whole black race. You couldn't put a white person in there; it wouldn't fit. I'm just saying we're all living together in all parts of this country, in all parts of this world, and we're all multiracial, mixed marriages, and I think that's what we are about, and I think that's what the show should be.
You think so?
Well, it doesn't have to make a political statement. It's just the people.
Yeah, well, that's
my
true.
feeling.
I see it this way. If they did a new one without the same characters, then I would say yeah. But I guess it's just that thing. That's how I like.
Well, I mean, couldn't Ginger be Beyonce? Or Jennifer Lopez, or
in a whole new recreation. I think you're right that they say.
And you put those 7 people learning to exist today, like we did in the '60s.
Yeah.
It's a lot more, what's the word I want to say? It had a lot more to it than just 7 silly people trying to get off the island. I think he really had a microcosm of what the world was then. I mean, you have Bernie Madoff now. Would that be how old?
Yeah, well, that's true.
I don't know. What do I know? I'm not writing it.
Well, no, but even then, a lot of the things, like even when you took Gilligan, who was pretty much Bob Denver didn't know anything as far as the Gilligan character until like when he said Gilligan, Ginger, and Professor said, until this time I didn't even know Gilligan knew the difference. I mean, taking those like today with people that might be. That's straight out of the TV show.
I thought it was.
Yeah, because he was explaining to the caveman. He said he was telling him. He goes, look. He goes, Gilligan, Ginger. And the professor happened to be there, and he looked at the skipper, and he said, until now, I didn't know Gilligan knew the difference. Well, there's those people today that would be the same as Gilligan, being lost there, not knowing, and because he was a boy growing innocence.
That's innocence. Yes. It has nothing to do with race or color or anything. It's just innocence. Yeah. Protected or not protected. Do you live in Manhattan or do you live in Kansas? You learn a lot more in Manhattan about that kind of thing than you do in Kansas. Yes. I mean, it shouldn't be any kind of a political issue. It's just 7 people who are from all walks of life trying to coexist. Yeah. That's basically what it is.
And that's Survivor, too.
Yeah.
Which they probably took the idea from Gilligan's. Everything spawned from Gilligan's Island.
Exactly. So remember that. I'm going to say SOS and sign off.
And here we are at Dawn Wells' table, and we want to thank her very much. And we're going to end this, but I am going to sing it because I can't help myself.
Go ahead.
But please jump in with me if you would.
As long as you say, not and the rest.
No, I read your thing about that they changed that because of what you told Sherwood. You said, look, why are we getting and the rest? Why
I didn't say, I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, you didn't?
It was either Sherwood or John Rich, the director, or Bob, who came the second year and said, look, there's 7 people. It was a contractual thing that Ginger was cast before we were, and her agent said nobody can be after her. So by the time Russell and I were cast, we had no choice. That's what the contracts were. And after the first year, we thought, well, there's 7 people, and they just changed it. Had nothing to do with anything, really.
Oh, okay.
It's just agents.
No, I see.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
Okay.
Just sit right back and hear a tale of a faithful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailor man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. Ba-da-dum. The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. Ba-da-dum. The ship set ground on the shore of this in a charted desert isle, with Gilligan, the skipper, too. The millionaire and his wife. The movie star, the professor and Mary Ann. Oops. Here on Gilligan's Isle. Not Pete.
You sing.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks.
I got on an Eastern Airline plane once, and as I boarded the plane, the whole plane sang the song.
Oh, cool. Can what?
Can you do the ending?
What was the ending? Oh, this is the tale of our castaways. They've been here for a long, long time. They'll have to make the best of things. It's an uphill climb. No boats, no light, no motor car. Not a single luxury. Like Robinson Crusoe, as primitive as can be. So join us here each week, my friend. You're sure to get a smile from 7 stranded castaways here on Gilligan's Isle.
Well, let's hear it. Whoa, well done. Well done.
I missed the line? Oh, the first mate and the
Never mind,
skipper
never mind.
too. But thank you. That's Dawn Wells with the Joel Wynkoop Show. Thank you so much, Dawn, for taking the time to be with us and do this. Thank you. You're a dog. Hey, it's Joel Wynkoop. We're here from the Joel Wynkoop Show. We have a special little interview here. We are at the Star Trek Live Blast from the Past, and I am here with Marta Kristen, who played Judy on Lost in Space. Judy, how are you? Or, Marta, how are you?
I am fine,
repeated
Judy.
I just said
Many
Judy,
people
and then
call me
yes.
Judy.
A lot of people just call me. They go, "Hey, Creep," because I was in the movie Creep, and I go, "You can call me Joel, call me Creep, doesn't matter." Marta, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here in Florida. And I haven't been in this part of Florida ever, so I'm happy to just enjoy the sun.
And enjoy meeting the people coming
Oh,
up
the
and saying
people!
hello.
The
And
people are amazing.
yeah.
That's why I love doing these shows. It's, the people. I mean, they are the most. What I like about it is that they tell me about their childhood, about watching Lost in Space, and all the memories that flood back to them about their time in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And I always say, well, I was only in the rerun, so.
And still, you can still find it on Irwin Allen. All his stuff is running.
Yes.
Voyage Beyond the Sea and Lost in Space and Land of the Giants. It's all still playing. There's a special channel that it all plays at.
I always
So
say
it's still playing.
I always say it's running somewhere in the world.
At all times.
Yes. I have people who say they've seen Lost in Space in Farsi, and of course in Spanish and French and all the other countries. But I would have loved to have seen the one in Farsi.
In what?
In Farsi.
Oh.
Yes. She was from Georgia, in the Soviet Union. So. But that would have been interesting.
Yeah. Now, how was it? This is for you viewers out there watching the Joel Wynkoop Show. Look, we got Marta here from Lost in Space. Now, Irwin Allen, how was it working with Irwin? Because I know I read some about some of the gals that were in Land of the Giants, and they'd be like, "Irwin, why am I doing this?" And he goes, "Just do it, my dear." So how was that?
Yes. Well, Irwin was the producer and the creator of the show, so he had a special gravitas when he came to the set. And he liked explosions more than I think he liked.
I read that. That's
he liked
right.
the actors, and he was very, very bright. And Irwin and I had a wonderful relationship. Except I asked him at one point. I said, "Irwin, you told me that you were going to give me a lot more to say," and he said, "Oh, absolutely, Martin. The next show you are going to have so much more." So. Instead of coming out and saying, out of the spaceship and standing on the deck and saying, "Will?" I read the script, and so the next week I came out on the deck and I said, "Will? Kenny?"
And he said, "There's your line."
There it is. I told you I'd give you more.
So
I had come from, you have to understand that I came from a theater background. I was very young, but I was 18 when I did the show, 19. But I come from a theater background. I had done all the shows at MGM, all the shows at Universal. I had worked with Alfred Hitchcock. I was working. I was a working actor. So when Irwin asked me to do the show, I said, "Well, I'll only do it if you promise that I will have a lot. I won't get lost
Lost in space.
Lost in space with the group of all these people in the show. And he said, I have a storyline. You have given up this great career as acting. Believe me, he said, we have plenty of storylines for you. And, the show turned from this black and white sci-fi show to, something that sort of followed the lines of what was happening at the time that was Batman and sort of the tongue-in-cheek style of genre of filming. And so, it went in a different direction. But all that said and done, I am so happy to have been in Lost in Space. I mean, it's iconic. It is. It brings back so many good memories of not only my time in the show, but also the fans' time, and it has it's sort of a feel-good show. It's silly at times, but like the Great Vegetable Rebellion, which I like.
I was going to bring up.
I like that show, and it's I guess TV Guide's one of the 100 top memorable shows. And of course, my other castmates say, yeah, memorable, all right. But I thought it was very sweet and fun, and I mean, who else co-stars with a giant carrot? Nobody I know of. So, what?
Well, wasn't that when they wrote that? Was it Guy Williams? Is that right?
That's right.
Major West and Mrs. Robinson was, I don't know why I can't remember all
June
of a sudden.
Lockhart.
June Lockhart,
Mark Goddard, Guy Williams.
Yeah.
Guy had just come off of Zorro.
But didn't they laugh at Irwin at the script and he says, I'm writing you out, you take the day off or the week off or something, you won't be in this if you're going to laugh at it.
Yes. Well, what happened was that we were working with a director who really liked angle shots, so he wanted to take a shot of June and Guy from below, so it sort of went up their noses, and they said, we don't do up your nose shots. And it wasn't very attractive, but it sort of defined what the show, and I mean he wanted to make it fresh, and
he wanted to put his spin on it.
Yes, and Don Richardson, who is a brilliant director, and we were very lucky to have him. So they had an argument with him, and then that went up to Irwin, and there you go.
But now didn't they write, maybe that was coming from what you were saying about give me more lines, didn't they have something with you and Mark Goddard, or Mark Goddard's Major West, I'm sorry, that was Mr. Robinson, but Major West, they were going to do a romantic thing between the two of you guys, maybe for one episode or a couple, I thought?
Originally they were going to, but then CBS gave a message to Irwin from the Nature Network, of course, and said, no hand-holding, this is a kid's show.
I think I remember reading about
no hand-holding, nothing between Judy and Don, because they're in space. We don't want anything like that to go on. So I think it would have been lovely.
I think so too.
The romance. It would have been a very sweet one.
Yeah. I guess in those days too, they were thinking so far ahead that here's the daughter of Robinson, and then Major West, who's just at the controls and everything in the ship, and then all of a sudden Major West is going to be hitting on Judy of the daughter, and they probably were thinking, no, we can't. Nowadays, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah,
it would happen now.
Well, we did exchange looks, sort of like
something was there.
Loving, loving looks. Can you imagine though that it wouldn't have happened?
Oh yeah. And what about working with? And I always do a Dr. Smith. Come on, you bubbling booby.
Right.
You bubble-headed booby.
Right.
How's it working with?
Jonathan.
Jonathan Harris.
Jonathan Harris.
That's right.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan and I were good friends, and he was lovely and smart, and he had such a love for Dr. Smith and for his fans. He would, even when he was terribly ill, critically ill, he would get out of his sick bed and he would go to the conventions, even fly, and meet his fans.
Because I think he called Irwin Allen and said, I finally came up with what I want to be. He said he came up in the middle of the night. He goes, I want to be special guest star. Wasn't he supposed to do the first episode?
He was.
And it was so great that they said, well, we're just going to have him like he was in the ship somewhere. and he got trapped, and he goes with them.
That's right.
Or he was on board
right.
with the bomb to blow you guys up, and he was on board, and he didn't get off in time.
Right.
And then, of course, everybody became his friend once they were over the part that he was there to kill everybody.
Yes, well, he knew also that if he were the true villain, that they wouldn't keep him on for long. So he started writing his character, and the writers were happy to have him do it.
Wow.
And he's the one who developed that, villain with the heart of gold, that you couldn't off, because he was a gold mine in many ways. So. He created Dr. Smith in what he ultimately was. So.
It's funny because you say he does that, and then you were saying, Irwin, can I have some more lines? Every set I go on, I always go to the director. I even did it to Herschel Gordon Lewis, which was my first time working for The Godfather of Gore. I told him, I go, Herschel, I kind of added a lot more to my dialogue. He said, is that okay with you, sir? And he goes, we'll see how it goes, Mr. Wynkoop. I did it, and he told me, he came to me later, and he goes, you are the only one that is allowed to change my dialogue. So I said, great, so that was carte blanche for me, and I just went in and I started writing, and I would come out, and he would go, okay, action. I would come out and do the scene, and he didn't know where the extra dialogue came from, but he goes, that was great. Thank you, Mr. Wynkoop.
Wow. Well,
So
one of the secrets that Jonathan had was that he would rewrite a scene so that he would have the last line in every scene.
Oh, really?
So guess where the camera ends?
On Dr. Smith.
On Dr. Smith. And which was very smart. And if I had the pull, I would have done the same.
There you go. So what else is going on? I'm sure because we're missing Billy Mummy, but of course he's great with the Twilight Zone episodes and Lost in Space and just all the other stuff that he's done, and Penny from
Make Room for Daddy.
At the very beginning, a very good place to start. Sound of Music. And her shot in Sound of Music. And then, of course, Mark Goddard. We talked to him back in 2006, I think, at FX. But just everybody was great on the show. But we loved you on the show. And now, what's going on for Marta now? Past Lost in Space, of course, doing the conventions. And you and I were on stage last night. That was fun.
Yes.
In fact, I met you for the first time last night. That was great. Yeah.
Well, I've been. I've done a lot of theater. I started a theater company called West Coast Ensemble.
Great.
And I left that after about 5 years. And I'm a painter. I work with oil pastels, and I do a lot of wire work. That's why my hands are so.
Working with your hands.
I use my hands all the time because I do a lot of. But what I do is I do layers of pastels, and then I will do scratching images on those.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll use found objects and make sculptures out of those with wire. And then I incorporate oil pastels and I've sold a couple.
Well, Margaret, is there anything else that you'd care to talk about?
What about your movies?
Me,
I have to see
I've done
some of those.
2 movies.
Well, yes, but I have an amazing guy, Dave. That's who does my website, and he couldn't stop talking about you.
Really? Oh, he's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I did about 30 or 40 blurbs in his book about all the movies I've worked on in Florida, whether I was producing and directing and acting or just acting. But yeah, he got a hold of me on MySpace or Facebook, and we became friends through there. And then I wrote up all those. I had the guns pulled on me. Well, you've got a ton of stories from there, but yeah, kind of. I just don't have as many. But yeah, I've done about 60 movies. But but Dave's he's been a great guy to me, and I wrote that and put the book out. And well, they're all indie.
That's all right. It's work.
Well, they're out there. Yeah, well, I mean, and it's not just something I've shot and we throw it on the shelf and nobody sees it. No, my movies also, like you said, they're dubbed in Germany and all over the country. My voice is dubbed, and the movies are overseas and they're all over this country. So yeah, and in the same take, they're still seen because there's a real following for those kind of movies. Even a lot of my interviews are about it's a B movie, but he's given us A acting and such like that. So those are cool things to hear. But
yes, absolutely.
But this has been great sitting here talking with you.
It's my pleasure.
And hanging out with you.
I do want to say that I'm good friends with Bill and Angela and Mark and June, we're all going to be doing a show at Hollywood Collectibles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Hollywood on.
I know it's in
February.
Hollywood because he told me I will never come back to Florida ever again.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, he did.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yes, I forget his name now, and he's the best. Him and his wife are great because they had my wife and I there both had tables in 2006, and Dawn Wells was there,
yes.
and Shirley from Laverne and Shirley. I'm saying Shirley, but
Yeah, I know.
I can't remember her name. But yeah, you know who I mean. But we were there. But when I talked to him, I said, "Hey, you gonna have another one?" He goes, "I'll never come to Florida again."
Oh, well, that's not nice. I like Florida.
But I think it's great that you and everybody. So it'll be lost in space. Everybody will be back together.
We'll all
except
be
for-
together. Yeah.
Except for
And June,
Is that great?
June is in her 80s now, but she's still sharp as a tack.
Great.
And Mark will be flying in from Massachusetts.
Mark's awesome.
He's amazing.
I did Scout Con with him, and he was right next to me there. And then FX, Mark and I did together. And yeah, he told me all about his school and his book, My Years in Lost in Space. And he's a teacher now.
Yes,
I believe
he
the
teaches
Goddard
at-
School.
Right?
Yeah.
The Goddard, no.
We're not that, but I mean, didn't he have his own at one point, or he was,
No.
or he's a teacher for a school?
Yeah, he's a teacher
and he's
for
Mark
a
Goddard,
special
so
ed, yeah.
it's Goddard School.
Yeah, it is Goddard School.
He's teaching
he
at
would
that
like
school.
to think so. But I love Mark. I love all of them. We're good friends, and it'll be good to see them in February.
That becomes your second family. Every movie I do, I don't think I've ever done a movie where I just went, oh, this sucks. Every movie has been great. I got along with everybody, and they've always treated me good, and of course
You're a
I
good
always try and
guy.
treat them good. And you got to get along. That becomes your second family.
That's right, it
So
does.
I have my
And
real
you're all
family,
working
and then all my
together.
movie families. Yeah, absolutely.
You have to
So,
work together.
Yeah. Well, hey, this has been great.
It has.
Marta Kristen, Judy from Lost in Space, and she has fans here, so we're going to let her go because I probably took up way too much
Well,
of her
no,
time.
it was lovely
But
talking with you.
It was lovely talking with you. Thank you very much, my dear. You're a doll. And that's it for the Joel Wynkoop Show. We're going back to the studio.
Ciao.
Thanks, Marta. Thank you so
welcome.
much. You're a doll. All right, that's it. That is it for the Joel Wynkoop Show today. I hope you enjoyed that. Seeing Dawn Wells, who played Mariana Gilligan's Island, and Marta Kristen, who played Judy on Lost in Space. We'll be back next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. That's next Sunday night, 9 p.m. on Verizon Channel 30 and Bright House Channel 950. Also, it repeats on Monday night on Bright House 949 and Verizon Channel 36. We'll see you then!
The Joel Wynkoop Show is brought to you in part by Lions Kill Productions, Target Printing and Copying.